Welcome to BP Mindcast. I'm Jonathan Bartlett, your host. These podcasts cover a wide variety of topics from a conservative academic viewpoint. Some you'll find interesting, some you won't. However, I plan on keeping these short enough that you can easily enjoy what you like, and hopefully I won't keep you too long for those that you don't. We're continuing our series on The Death of Expertise. This is a book by Tom Nichols, and I'm showing why I think that Nichols is accusing a lot of people of being anti-expert improperly. And I think that Nichols is actually missing the mark to a great degree. And so this series is kind of to talk about why. And so in this podcast, I want to talk a little bit about expert opinion. And that is, if let's say that we have expert opinion, and let's say that we even think that the expert opinion is trustworthy. Okay, so we think that the expert has good reason for his opinion, and we think that that there's no reason not to take it into account. So even if the expert gives good, valid opinions, should we take his advice? And it's a completely different question if we should take what the expert says as truth to be true, and whether or not we should take his advice. Those are two completely different questions. Because what we should do as a person acting in the world takes into account more than any one subject. If you think about, let's say, right now we have, during the pandemic, we have doctors, and the doctors may be arguing for or against the lockdown. Now, here's the question. So let's say that we agree 100% with the doctor's expert opinions on how the lockdowns will affect the virus. Well, the thing is that the medical question is not the only question that there is. There's an economic question. Are the people who are epidemiologists, are they also experts in economics? Do they know how the economic fallout is going to affect the United States? Do they know the political fallout? Do they know how that's going to affect the politics of the United States? If we have people giving mask orders that are not in keeping with the Constitution, how does that affect the ability of the Constitution to protect us in the future? Is someone seriously going to argue that an epidemiologist is an expert on how the Constitution is going to be interpreted in the future based on current actions? These are things that an expert literally can't have an expert opinion on. Or, I mean, in theory, someone could be an expert on political matters, but the political expert is not going to have the epidemiological expertise. And so it turns out that for most actions, as opposed to knowledge, for most actions, you actually need quite a broad spread of experts. Additionally, you need to know how to weigh those different aspects. And who is the best person to weigh those aspects? Well, it's the people that they are going to affect. And so it turns out that in many cases, while the experts on knowledge may be somewhere else, the experts on action are actually, for the most part, the people who are going to do the actions. And therefore, calling something, anti-intellectual or anything of that nature, just because you don't like what they're going to do, you've actually misunderstood the equation entirely. Because what someone does involves so many different areas of expertise that literally no one can possibly be an expert on all of them. So basically what it takes is good judgment. And honestly, judgment is not one of those things that they actually teach experts. So it turns out that in order to have good judgment, you actually have to have kind of middle knowledge of a whole lot of things. And that's something that experts don't generally have. Usually they have highly specialized knowledge in one area. And so the people who are going to have the best middle knowledge in a whole lot of different areas are actually going to be people who aren't experts at anything. And so it turns out that when it comes to public policy making, that the general public actually might be the best expert that there is. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed your time on BP Mindcast. Until next time, keep thinking.